ASH21.
Do you want me to ask the questions you prepared?
No, I haven't got questions. I've tried to jot down some answers.
Okay, good.
Yeah, everybody had a list of, just general questions, and they chose three.
Yeah, but I wasn't in that day, so.
You were in that. You were there that day. This was weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you
We
definitely,
interviewed everyone.
you definitely did practice.
It's always you, isn't it?
Sorry.
So do you not have those there?
No, I don't. I don't know where I've
But
been. That's what I've just done now.
all right. So one has to be why she wants to study psychology.
Okay.
I mean, I can put the general stuff on the board. If that helps.
But I'll tell you who I am, actually. I'm going to be Alice Jones, who's the admissions teacher in the psychology department. So she might interview you. She's much younger than me. She's very brilliant and a really, really nice person. And she really wants to get the best out of anyone she's interviewing. So you might have her if you come to Goldsmiths. So just think, nice person really wants to hear good things about me. Okay, could you introduce yourself to me and tell me a little bit about yourself? Why you chosen to study, why you want to do psychology?
Okay, my name's Ashley DeCosta. I've studied an access course for the past year, Access to HE. Access to social science, psychology, sociology and English literature. The reason I've chosen to do psychology is because I think it applies to everyday life, like why we stress, why we act the way we do, how we interact with people, people's personalities, and I think it will help me to understand why people are the way they are. Also, I usually do well in subjects that I'm really interested in, and I've always been interested in human behaviour.
So can you tell me a bit more about what subjects have you studied that include human behaviour? Or is that something you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess. So tell me a little bit about the subjects you've been studying that are related to psychology.
Psychology last year.
So what have you been doing with that?
The history of psychology.
History of psychology?
Yeah. We've also done. Sorry, I can't do this bit. I can't even remember what I've done in psychology.
That's okay. Let's go back. Let's go. Yeah, but no problem. Let's just go back to the history of psychology. Can you think of any psychologists? Or
yeah, Sigmund Freud. He did psychoanalysis and basically our unconscious mind and what we do when how we react when we're unconscious and why we dream and stuff like that.
So did you read any of Freud's work?
Not so far.
Okay. Might be good to read. Okay, that's fine. And what else have you been doing that might be related to psychology?
Sociology, which is basically about social, everyday life and society, and also I think that kind of relates to psychology because it's to do with people and why, or their thoughts and their morals, and that kind of ties in with psychology.
So you sound like you're really interested in studying people and
How we work, yeah.
Is there anything in particular that attracted you to the psychology degree at Goldsmiths?
Yeah, educational psychology, because I want to work with children and their children, how they develop, how their minds develop, and that is kind of the sector that I need to get into in order to pursue that.
That's good. And why do you think Goldsmiths might be a good place to do that?
Because I've looked through the course and all the modules that we do, and it seems like that's kind of the direction I need to go into. And also, Goldsmiths are quite good with psychology.
Yeah. You say we're quite good at psychology.
Yeah, well, very good. You're up there on the list. I typed it into Google and it came up as one of the best.
Good answer. Thank you. And what do you want to do with your psychology degree?
I want to work with children, maybe in a school, and help children with their behaviour and why they might be depressed, or just help them and make themselves better and explore why they act the way they do.
Have you any work experience with children at all, or life experience?
Yeah, I've got next door neighbours that I look after every now and again, and my little cousins, I babysit them. So
I'm still searching for a bit, because I understand. So, but why do you want to particularly work with children?
because I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. So, but think about that question. Because you need to be able to think about it a bit more.
Yeah, I need to be more prepared.
Yeah, it's not more prepared, or it's not just interview. It's just thinking about why I want to go into educational psychology. Yeah, good. But you, all is not lost. I'm interested in you, and in progress so now, and I'm going back into interviewing. Have you done any? I'm sorry, I don't have your UCAS book yet. But what are your maths qualifications?
I've got 2 C's in Maths GCSE.
Oh, that's good, excellent. And how long ago did you do your maths GCSE?
3 years ago.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. I mean, we have quite a lot of maths and statistics in this course. So how will you cope with that?
Yeah, I searched on the net and saw that it involves a lot of statistics, and I think I do fine with that because I quite enjoy maths. So
Yeah, have you done any work with statistics recently?
not recently. The last time I did maths was actually at GCSE at secondary school.
Okay. You know our course is BPAS accredited? Is it accredited? The British Psychological? Yes. Is that important to you?
Yeah, very, because I think that I need to be recognised in order to get where I need to go in my career. So, and I'm also wanting to study masters after.
Ah, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We have quite a lot of master's students. So, no, that's good to know. Okay, so anything else you'd like to say in support of your application? Okay, we've got quite a lot of applicants for psychology. You're right, it is a very popular course. So you're really sure you can't think of anything else you'd like to say?
Not at the moment.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So you have to stay there, I think, now.
Yeah, no.
But well done, well done. It's nerve-wracking. I mean, I didn't know
Very.
we had to interview each other in front of everyone. So I find it quite nerve-wracking as well, but it's good. Okay.
Jordan, what did you think we're doing? Well, you probably haven't got one. You're supposed to be doing feedback on
I think
things like voice, body language, and the content.
I think she was good. I think she just needs to believe in herself more. Because she's not like bad. I think she just should have more confidence and feel like more certain than what she's saying. But it wasn't bad at all.
Okay. What about Shaima? What did you think?
Great answers, detailed and personal, but needs to find out more information on the subjects in the course.
Always good body language.
Yes.
Didn't move. Looked like you wanted to listen and you wanted to pay attention. Like you didn't look like your mind was elsewhere.
I thought with your body language, you smiled quite a bit, which was good. But whenever you answered a question, like you would look at your interviewer when she was asking, but when you answered, that's when you started to look around,
Yeah.
rather than just being like,
Focus.
look into my eyes.
Yeah.
I thought, there was some eye contact. That's a good point because I didn't notice that. To me, good posture, I mean, you had presence and you did come across as sincere. Voice is clear, that's fine, I could hear everything. Yes, I think just not prepared enough in terms. I mean, I know Ashley's going through a bit of a rethinking what she wants to do at the moment, which probably didn't help. But for example, the statistics question, I know you do statistics on the Access course, so you could have said, well, I did it 2 years ago, but we are doing a
The main thing is I just
module.
didn't want you to go into it because I know we probably will do it this year, but I haven't done it so far, so I wouldn't really know what to say.
Yeah, but just to say, because what she was trying to find out was, well, you did maths 2 years ago. Are you going to be able to cope with the statistics? And just say, we are going to do it on the Access course, which showed that you were going to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't really expect you to know that much about it. But I think if you do go to psychology, obviously it's worth looking ahead and finding out about what that module will involve, so you can be clear about the kind of statistics. And also just some of the language is a little bit casual. You know, I think when you're talking about psychology, we'll expect, you know, to try and use a bit at least more formal language. You don't need to try and be too ultra academic and things. You can use plain English, not there were a few quite informal things.
Can I just add something to that? I mean, I think I'm very interested in you as an applicant, and I just feel you just didn't quite give me enough. So I wanted to give you a place, but but you just needed a bit more. And the two things was, this is quite right, statistics. You know, just say exactly what you will be doing. That's great. And the other thing that I picked up was a little bit worried about was you mentioned Freud, but
Didn't
you
expand.
had, yeah, and also what I heard you say is you hadn't read any of his work. And I would actually just, even interpretation of dreams, one chapter, just make sure you've read it, because he's quite readable, isn't he?
The best thing is the introductory essays. You could read one of them.
Yeah. So that you, because they are, but it just makes that difference between somebody who's just learnt about Freud and somebody who's actually read what he said.
One of the case studies.
Yeah, we will. Our last essay was actually on him, but like when I'm so nervous, I just everything just comes up my mind. And I just totally forget. And plus, like I'm a bit nervous because the whole class is watching me. But I have actually read about him.
Taking, I mean, yeah, exactly. So taking those notes, make notes of that, and then just take them in with you. And I think what you can say is, I probably won't need this, but I do get a bit nervous in meetings, so can I refer to my notes?
Yeah.
Just to, again, people will be impressed by that.
And I mean, before you came, Lucy, we talked about preparing, you know, reading through your essays, your notes.
But definitely, I'd want to give you a place, and I'd be probably having a bit of an argument in the department about why we should give you a place, but you know, I just need a bit more evidence.
Okay.
Okay?
Because how you come across, and you know, everybody's different, but if you come across as a person and personality, that will make, you know, can make people interested as well.
And you do. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. That's mine.
And actually, after this, I'm going to
Katie, I think we need to do, because yours is prepared.
Okay.
Do you want a copy of my purple?
Yes, I do actually. You sent it to me and I read it last week.
It's actually gone to 2 pages.
Katie, are you still filming?
The green light's on.
Okay. Okay, Katie, can you just remind me what courses you're applying for and which universities again?
VPS at Cambridge, which is Politics, Psychology and Sociology. Sociology and Politics at Goldsmiths. International Development, that's it. I don't know, I can't remember.
That's fine. That's just in the order. Okay. So, which university should we choose?
Cambridge?
So Cambridge is VPS.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me why you'd like to come to Cambridge to study this particular course?
Well, to be honest, I thought that Cambridge would have an international development course at degree level, but you do have really good masters and PhDs that can do in international development. So I feel that doing VPS at Cambridge and having access to the lectures that you'll do in international development will be really helpful for me in learning more on that subject. Also, I feel like Cambridge is obviously very prestigious and that I will get access to lots of good research at the library and also be around other people that I feel will be intellectually challenging for me to converse with and push me further in kind of other areas that I might be interested in.
Can I ask why you didn't put Oxford down? Did you? Because I know they have quite a big international development studies section.
They do, but the Oxford course is actually mainly based in geography and I don't have a very good standing in geography. I do find it interesting, but I've never really studied it as a subject, so I haven't found, I didn't think that I would be able to get into Oxford based on that.
But you thought you'd be able to get into Cambridge.
Well, no, but, well, not necessarily didn't think that I would, thought that one was harder than the other, but I just thought I had better standing to get into Cambridge and have better knowledge in those areas.
So can you talk to me a bit about you're doing what is it, an access course?
Yeah.
Yes, tell me about that. What is that?
An access course is a 1-year intensive course, which is basically for mature students who didn't complete their A-levels. So you do 3 subjects, core subjects, and then you also do study skills and access to higher education skills, which teach you researching skills and essay writing, so academic writing. The other 3 subjects I chose in my course were sociology, psychology, and originally I chose English, but I changed anthropology. And I've also recently started sitting in the philosophy class because I found it interesting.
Oh, that's good. What do you find interesting about philosophy?
It helps to broaden your knowledge in an area, I think, or like different ideas that you might be able to think of. I feel like the education that I had in school only went to a certain reach where I didn't consider other points of view all the time, and philosophy helps me to broaden my kind of ideas on a particular subject.
Because I noticed you've been listening to a lot of podcasts as well.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Do you read?
I do read, yes.
What have you read recently?
Recently I've read quite a lot of introductory books, like Introduction to Anthropology. I've also read Capitalism as if the World Matters by Jonathan Porritt, and Introduction to Philosophy I also read.
Would you describe Jonathan Porritt as an academic?
I think so. I did read his website and all of his credentials, but I can't remember what they say, but he has got a PhD, I think it's in economics. So yes, it would be listening because it is an academic.
Good. You also say you're interested in photography.
Yes.
Can you tell me a bit about that and how it might fit into your studies?
I think photography doesn't essentially fit into my studies, but it gives me, I think, a good outlet that is creative and not necessarily academic, but I think it's good to have a wide range of abilities and interests.
It's a very interesting point because it's something that we think about a lot at Cambridge, this sort of division between creativity and academia.
Yeah, well, I suppose you could argue that they're actually very interlinked because being creative means that you're probably more intellectual and can think creatively.
Yes, you see, if we did offer you a place at Cambridge, we'd be very interested in someone who can bring those two things together. Right. You talk quite a bit about the effects of globalisation on communities in Thailand. Can you talk to me a bit more about the communities you know there?
I can't remember the name of the community I was in Thailand. I was on an island called Phuket, I think. I just went there to actually go diving, but while I was there, I noticed that a lot of the local restaurants and grocery stores had loads of fish. Loads of fish outside of their supermarkets and stuff. And some of those fish were actually sharks or like prawns, which both are known to be nearly extinct in the area. In fact, it used to be called Turtle Island, but you can go there diving now and you won't see a turtle. And I think that shows the effects of globalisation because they are not doing that fishing for their own diets. They're actually doing that for tourists that go into those areas, who basically demand that type of food and to have it in excess and on display, so that it seems as if it's a worthwhile restaurant to go to or a rich area. And I think that's a negative side of globalisation.
You do a variety of things as well as travelling in Thailand, but you've been working for 5 years, and you're saying you're also you've been doing a variety of things. I wonder why you kind of suddenly decided to go to university now and where you see it leading.
Well, ideally I'd like to be working at a top level in a charity or an NGO, or possibly for government. And I felt that the experience that I had from my career wasn't good enough to be able to go into a position like that. I decided to change, really because I was finding my job, it was satisfying, but it was boring, and I don't think I was fulfilling my potential, really. I had a lot of outside interests, and I enjoyed reading a lot, and being a personal assistant, I don't think was using me to my full potential.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it's not an interview tomorrow. And we'll let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. How did that go?
I think I said quite a lot. And I think I should have probably known the exact place where I was in Thailand and have a bit more of a better way of saying that. My words don't flow as well as I thought they would.
Because it's specifically mentioned.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right.
What do you think?
I think I needed a bit more substance.
Okay.
I thought it was a very clear. I think you were very clear at expressing yourself. But it's such it's a challenging subject, and I was really interested in your experience, that you're a bit older, that you've thought about development, you've thought about globalisation, that kind of thing. But I'm kind of looking for a bit more substance. The question I asked about Jonathan Porritt is something that I can imagine a Cambridge academic saying.
Okay.
Because I would imagine, there was always an issue with people like him who are popular.
Yeah.
And the academics always feel, oh, they're not academic, they're too popular.
Okay.
So it's good to sort of, but your answer to that was very good, in that you such, does it being checked, what his credentials were, and all the rest of it. But it's also, if you're going to cite a book, just maybe mention the references, check how many references he makes to other academic work,
Okay.
or back it up with a more academic text.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah, but generally, you're nearly there, but you need something just a little bit more, I think, to give yourself an edge.
Okay.
Just because it's so competitive.
Yeah.
But you'd be a great student. I'd love you to be a student. If I was a Cambridge academic, but there we go. So,
Okay, what about Ada? Ashley, what did you think?
Yeah, I think that she was quite clear with her answers and also following her voice. It was good. It could have been slightly louder, slightly louder, and I think that she knows why she wants to study there and she's got all her points and wants to put them across and she did.
Sometimes you didn't seem too sure on your answers. It's like you were looking for confirmation that what you were saying was good, and your answers were good, but you were just like you were looking at hers to say, yeah, that's right, isn't it?
Okay. I was more looking for like a can I stop now because I feel like I'm rambling.
I'll say everything is good. I think maybe you should put like more personal experiences in because you've got all the academic stuff that they ask, you kind of have all the right questions, but maybe you should go in more personal, like say why you're suited to that course and how you being a mature student would make you a better candidate to have on the course.
I mean, I thought when you talked about reading, you did just give a list, and it would be better to mention one thing and say more about it. Because again, you had to show you've got the intellectual curiosity and the phrase Leonie used, which I'm going to be using all the time, power of analysis.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't quite, so the interest came across. And I thought you seemed very committed. Yes, there was some eye contact, and also you were very engaged with the interviewer, which is a good thing. So it was definitely conversations, which was good.
I think the question that they asked about Oxford, I think we need to come up with a good answer for that.
Yeah, I do, but that
Because
is
that
the
is
general reason why.
I know, but just
But I thought
more
you
clear and more, I don't know, because that, yeah, see, it's the same with me. If they go to me, why have you not applied for philosophy at Cambridge?
Yeah.
You can do it on its own. And like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come up with a
by the
good
time I
answer.
got to you and thought of that, but yeah.
But, well, I don't know, I thought you responded quite well to being challenged. I got that down as a positive.
I would like to strengthen my argument on that, but I think.
But do they know that you've applied to other unis?
They actually don't see why you've applied to now.
But you can't apply to Oxford and Cambridge.
No, but what I mean is, then that means that they're not going to know you've applied to these other courses, so they can't really ask you that question unless you talk about going on to do
They do sometimes.
No, but it's in my
ask-
statement. I won't do it.
They do sometimes ask where else you applied to,
Do you
and
have
you
to tell
do
them?
not have to tell them because it can be a mistake to tell them.
Should you tell them or not?
No, don't.
Don't at all.
So if they ask you, you say no.
Just say it doesn't matter because you're my first choice.
I would say, if they ask you that question, which they shouldn't really, but if they might ask it, just say, you are my first choice.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Always.
You are my first choice.
Because I think somebody went to Queen Mary's and was asked that, and they did say that blah, 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 blah. And then they didn't get an offer, you know, we think it was because they were sort of, they
Yeah,
wanted
just
there themselves to be the place.
Yeah. Or it comes over as a kind of lack of commitment to that university. It's just if you just say.
I mean, they're not really supposed to ask you that, but they can. All right. Any more comments? Vicky, let's make it.
Oh, you said
You were really diverse in what you said. Like you liked a lot of subjects.
Oh, okay.
I thought we good on what you said about access. It's quite concise. So we definitely can do one more. Yeah.
Might be a bit about
It's really useful.
I know.
People have more quite that into I think some useful things are coming up. Have you all got forms?
English language and linguistics.
Did you see it applying to Goldsmiths as well?
Yeah, I've got some. You've got some
So,
face.
yeah.
I've got some face.
I think.
Okay, Rebecca. So can you just tell me, just confirm what degree you're applying for here?
Applied for English language and linguistics.
So the joint degree.
Yeah.
So that's going to be quite challenging. Why do you think a joint degree might be challenging?
Well, I do my access course now and I have 3 subjects, but I like the fact that I can change from different subjects. If I get bored of one subject, I can just go on to the other until I get my head around the other one. And I think English language and linguistics complement each other really well.
Oh, good. Why?
Well, because they're both really related, and in linguistics it obviously relates to all languages, whereas English language is my language.
Do you speak any other languages?
I did a GCSE in Italian, and my mum is Italian, so I speak
Oh, that's useful, because it's always useful for linguistics to have another language as well. Actually. And what particularly interests you about applying for English and linguistics essays?
Well, I like the fact that I can do modules in speech and language, because when I gain my degree, hopefully, I can then go on to do a speech and language degree and masters.
Oh, right. Yes. And can you tell me why you're interested in that area?
Well, before my access course, used to be a nursery worker, and I used to work with children who were autistic, who had Down syndrome, and I enjoyed teaching them how to speak, and I enjoyed looking at the way they spoke compared to other children, and I really wanted to help children like that.
So, what makes you think by coming to university and doing English and linguistics that would support you?
Well, if I know how the process of learning the language works, I'll know more how to help people.
That's interesting. Can you tell me a bit more about what you've been studying in your access course?
I've been studying English literature, which I look at etymology, which is really interesting. I find to look at how the English language has evolved, and sociology I find very interesting because I like to look at different social classes, why we all speak differently, the dialects of different countries who all speak the same language but speak it very differently.
Can I just also check with you, for English literature, can you tell me what you've been studying? Any texts?
Well, at the moment we're studying Jekyll and Hyde, and before that we studied poetry, and we looked at poetry from the 17th century all the way to the 20th century.
Oh, that's good. Because we like students here to do some poetry as well. Can you talk to me about a poem you particularly enjoyed?
I like Shakespeare's sonnets. I liked his Shallow Companion. I like the way that he used contrast in language. That he wrote a poem about a summer's day, but it was a very dark poem. I found that very interesting.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about the course?
We'll be able to do modules in others, because I know some universities allow you to do modules in other social sciences that would help me English language.
Yes, in the second year, we widen out the choice of modules you can do, so you'll be able to do that. Okay, thank you. I've finished my interview.
was really good.
Yeah, I was really nervous.
Yeah, Jordan.
I was just gonna say, yeah, did you say it's like you work to disabled children?
I work with some.
Because I was thinking like working with disabled children is more on the health and social care side. So I was thinking how that would relate to what was it that you was going to do? English.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering how it would relate to English. Because it seems like more health and social care.
Well, it depends on disability. Children with autism struggle with language a lot, so you have to teach them English in a different way you would teach another child to speak English.
I thought you were good. I thought at the start, though, I was like, same as I said to you, eye contact when you were answering, like it was all over the place, and then after the first question, it was fine. And so I think it was just nerves, and after that, it was very good.
I think you could be a bit louder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you had a very nice smile all the way through, so you looked like you were enjoying the interview. Very good eye contact. I thought, you were always quite quiet, but I could hear you. I thought you were clear, enthusiastic. Thought your answers were relevant, you knew the modules, you had a plan for the future, you were concise, you were very positive about everything. There was only one bit at the beginning where you talked about boredom.
Yeah, I remember as soon as I said that.
And when you talked about literature, don't just studying Jekyll and Hyde. You say you're reading Jekyll and Hyde, and the assignment is, because that one is, I think, very interesting assignment, would the poetry say what it is that you were looking at? You're looking at how Jekyll and Hyde, how a modern reader would respond to Jekyll and Hyde, and that would interest me more. But I think you really blossom in a red catch, and she comes across now as quite confident. Lucy, sorry, what did you think?
Well, I'm picking up on poetry. For English, academics like it when they like, my experience, they like poetry if you're going to study English literature. And then you've done the 17th century to the 20th century, great. That's fantastic.
I think actually Soren does a little Chaucer as well.
Oh, yeah. Remember Chaucer,
Yeah.
very Chaucer. Because that's impressive, that spread again. Anything that you can show. Good. But what really impressed me is about that interview was your experience of working with autistic children, and how well you connected that with doing English and linguistics, and you'd really thought it through, and you just came through as just sort of very thoughtful and considering that you'd really considered this course, thought about what you wanted to do, and how you're going to get there. And I don't know, I just suddenly thought yes, after about 5 minutes. And there's something about that, and it did, I don't know, there's another quality about it that I really liked, which was, I think sometimes if you're on one level of always being brightly confident, what you don't show is a moment of, let me just think about that. That's a really interesting question. I'm going to consider that. I'm not quite sure what the answer is. And that's something that actually is a quality I think academics look for sometimes, and I think you showed it there. You did answer a good stuff. It was a very, very, very good interview. But I would like to say, I just thought all the interviews were really good. And sometimes I think it was a bit more challenging for some than others because I know the Oxford and Cambridge one is really grueling because of those over 2 days and the competition. But So, is there anything else you want to check?
Did you bring any?
I forgot to bring these specs, but I can post them to you.
And
So, anything else?
I think for psychology people there is there something on the website?
Yes, there is. I mean, I was going to say, if you have a look at, and I think this probably, sorry, I just put my glasses